Привет, I'm Chuck Olenek, a Ukrainian-American baptized with the name Yaroslav. That's also the name I use in the Society for Creative Anachronism, where I'm known as Yaroslav the Persistent. And I've been doing videos on Slavic folklore and mythology and putting them up on my YouTube channel, partially to help me out with things I'm working on, and partially to encourage people to develop an Eastern European persona. So while I was poking around on folklore stuff, I stumbled across a reference to V-I-Y, also translated as the V. And I remembered something, there was like a reference to, maybe it was an Irish tale of a giant whose eyelids or eyebrows were so heavy that he needed human servants to lift him up with pitchforks. But once they were lifted, his uncovered eyes had a gaze that burned everything. Think Cyclops without his visor and someone's pointing his head. Unfortunately, the references I find are just as vague, except for one. The Ukrainian novelist Nikolai Gogol. By the way, other references will refer to him as Russian because Russia tended to basically take credit for anything written by Ukrainians. It's like, oh, no, these are Russians. He's the guy who wrote the story Taras Bulba, which is a little different from the plot of the movie with Yul Brynner and Tony Curtis, which I watched all the time with my dad. And he wrote a number of other things, but there was this collection of tales entitled Mirgorod. And in volume 2 of this 1835 collection of tales is the horror novella V. The tale includes a witch and, well, obviously a character named V, or the V. The V is squat and hairy. It's got an iron face, and it's bespattered all over with black earth. Its limbs like fibrous roots. The V orders its long dangling eyelids reaching the floor to be lifted with pitchforks so that it can see. So in the story, the V gets his eyebrows lifted, and there's like 3 students that are from a monastery, and they're running around in the story, and one's being attacked by a witch. And when the V gets his eyebrows lifted, he sees the spirit of the student, or one of the students, and he's gone. Now, Gogol insisted in his author's note that V was the name given to the chief of the gnomes by Ukrainians. But Ukrainian folklore doesn't really have a native belief in gnomes, right? And that's not really an Eastern European thing. So the V has come to be considered to be a product of Gogol's own imagination rather than a figure of folklore. But that's not going to stop folklorists from trying to make it into folklore. There's a Russian folktale, Ivan Bukovich, or Ivan the Bull's Son, or Ivan Do Not Know, all one word. And in that story, the witch's husband, called the Starey Starik, or the old man, or the oldster, needs to have his eyebrows and eyelashes lifted with a pitchfork. Okay, that sounds familiar. There's also an old folk tradition surrounding St. Cassian the Unmerciful, or St. Cassian the Merciless. He was said to have, in some tales, got eyebrows that descended to his knees, and they were raised up only on leap year. Of course, I don't know if that's on just the day or the entire year. and I didn't really hear any results. Some scholars believe that the concept of V may have been at least partially based upon St. Cassian, as it's likely that Gogol had heard about the character and designed V on the basis of his various forms. I had also heard that Cassian was the patron saint of teachers, and that he was done to death with his students stabbing him with quills. Well, I don't know where this all fits with the folklore, but I thought I'd throw it out there because the image of a giant having his eyebrows lifted with pitchforks and that there's a burning gaze involved, that's been bugging me for a while, so I thought I'd share it. Now it's your problem. Until the next time, do pobacenia.